Hello, my dear friends. Welcome to my channel, or welcome back. My name is Sarita. Really glad to see you here today. I have a double candle review for you today from the company Lafco. And many of you know Lafco. It is I would say, luxury brand, and has prices similar to like Nest New York. And I believe it is a New York company. And I am really on the fence with Lafco. I'm not really, let's just put it this way. I'm not enthusiastic about Lafco, and I'm not really sure why, because I haven't really experienced them. And so here's my caveat. The two little candles that I have here are like holiday limited edition, and they are like tiny votives that I burned in a guest bathroom. And so to some extent, I'm not even really sure how substantive a review I can give. And I really hesitated. I thought, don't even do a review. You can't make any kind of consideration, certainly about the company itself, but even perhaps about these candles from these like little tiny votives. But then I thought, you know what? I burned them, and I will tell you how I experienced them and what my impressions of Lafco are as they sit currently, which is to say that I haven't had a huge amount of experience. That said, partly that's because for me personally, they're a little price prohibitive. These, they came in cute little boxes though, look. So the two candles in question are Hazelnut Torrone and Woodland Spruce. Looks like this. So I bought these from Macy's, not this season, but last season. And I put them away because, you know, I got them on clearance in like January or something. And I thought, you know, I'll do that for holiday next year. And I did. I've been burning these, you know, like the last month, sometime in December. Like I said, I did it in my like a little tiny guest bathroom, which is my candle lab for small candles, or candles that are burning small, if you know what I mean. So I got them on clearance from Macy's. I want to say in the $8 to $10 range, but these are regular price $18.50, as you can tell, and they're like true votive size. I mean, they're not like a glorified votive size, although this is a really nice glass. And it's really, and I don't know if you can tell too, but the Woodland Spruce one is kind of tinted green on the inside. And like I said, with the little box and the little ornament presentation, it's cute, but $18.50 for, you know, a votive is a lot. And then when they go to kind of like an old-fashioned tumbler kind of design. And in those vessels, it's like, oh, I wrote it down, 6.5 ounces. You can get a 6.5, like one wick, and it's $50. That's a lot. It's actually more than Nest New York, because I think Nest New York is in the $50 or $55 range with 8 ounces. So this is actually even more expensive. If you get one in the 15.5 range, which is about an ounce more than Bath & Body Works, that one is $75. And the 30 ounces is $115. The 30 ounce might be multiple wick. I kind of imagine it would be. But I think the 15.5 is a single, unless I'm mistaken. So definitely not prices to write off. And for me, it's prohibitive. When we start seeing those at Marshall's and TJ Maxx, I'll be the first to try them out. But yeah, I don't think I'm gonna be doing it at those price points. Obviously on clearance at Macy's, I was happy to take a chance on a couple votives. At the time, Josh from Touch the Fire Twice, he was like getting PR from Lafco and was really kind of promoting them pretty enthusiastically. And then we haven't seen Josh for like a year. Josh, where are you? Come back to us. So I don't know. I kind of wish Josh were still with us to kind of be shepherding us through this Lafco experience. But honestly, there have been some mixed reviews. Melanie from Mr. Kong's mom tried out Lafco and it didn't go well for her. And I think she was really wanting it to go well for her. So she went into it like predisposed, I think, to make it work and to see the positives, and had a really hard time, especially with burn quality. So I think that's why I'm kind of like not terribly enthusiastic about Lafco. I'm not even terribly enthusiastic about Nest New York, to be perfectly honest, and those price points, the way that they perform. But I would have more confidence in Nest at this point than in Lafco. That said, I haven't experienced enough of them, and so I don't want to be like overly negative to begin with, right? Okay. Also, by the way, Macy's does carry all of the Lafco, like not the limited edition ones, but all of their usual ones. And Macy's does carry, they have a travel tin candle that I think is 4 ounce. So it's a pretty good, in fact, it may even be more than, yeah, this is 2 ounces right here. These votives are 2 ounces and the tins are 4. So you get considerably more, and they go for $20, which is only like, oh my gosh, it's $2.50 more. You know the reason why is because it's a tin. It's not like a fancy glass vessel. If you want to try out Lafco, that's the direction I would go in, especially if Macy's, and I have seen them do 1 or 2 sales that included those tins and gave you like 20% off or something like that, you know? I didn't do it at the time because I was already kind of like, do I really want to spend even $16 on one of these travel tins? But if you want to try out Lafco, that is the way I would try them out. Get those 4 ounce travel tins and at least make sure that you kind of like the fragrance itself. Try it out in your guest bathroom, etc. Okay. Melanie, Mr. Kong's mom, the main issue for her was that the candles tunneled very badly. And no matter what she did, they just didn't burn properly. And you often find that that's the case in the luxury candle price point. I don't think it's acceptable personally, because if you're spending that much money for a candle, like it better burn correct. It should be burning at least as good as Bath & Body Works, if you know what I mean. That said, they often don't. And there's a whole host of reasons why that is the case. From me and from my perspective, it seems as though, if I had to be honest, a lot of the luxury candle companies, they kind of feel as if they don't know a whole lot about actual candle making. And they are actually much better at formulating sophisticated and premium scents and fragrances. That seems to be the strength, is that the fragrances, at least theoretically, the fragrances being offered from a luxury candle company are fragrances that are more niche, more elevated, more premium. They're more thoughtful. It takes them a long time to develop one, etc., that kind of thing. And the vessels and the packaging and the prestige. Yeah. All luxury brands, though, even if it's like a luxury brand like that does handbags or something, at a certain price point, you kind of look at it and you're like, what exactly are the inputs going into this bag as to why this bag should be X, Y, or Z? Because obviously they can charge a premium at a certain point for like brand reputation, prestige, name value, etc., and has nothing to do with the inputs actually going into it. And unfortunately, a lot of luxury candles kind of fall into that, where they have a certain prestige in terms of just their brand and what their brand purchases, basically. And it has less to do with like the quality of the product itself. I don't know. There's a lot of things I can say about luxury candles. We're not gonna hijack this video. But for me personally, I'm not interested in Lafco if those candles do not perform. And if they tunnel all the way down and you have to fight them every single moment to just get them to burn, it's a no for me. I'm a low maintenance girl. I want to burn my candle and like let it do its thing. And it doesn't sound like you can do that. And I don't personally have the income to just be like, what's $115 on one candle? Like, if you have that kind of disposable money, God bless. You know, it may be a lot easier for you to kind of gamble and kind of roll the dice on some of these more luxury candles. Okay, close parentheses. Let's talk about the two that I have here. The first one is Hazelnut Torrone, and that's this one here that's, I might be kind of like a champagne on the inside, but yeah, it's really pretty. It's like this copper like design here. And it says limited edition. Hazelnut Torrone did not come back this year, although the other one did. So Hazelnut Torrone was last year's, and the blurb on the back is not correct, which is another like really tacky thing, to be honest. So the blurb on the back talks about sweet pink pepper, cinnamon, and tonka. It's just a different candles blurb altogether. Definitely should have been caught. And Melanie even mentioned that like one of her candles had the wrong blurb too. So there were some major quality control issues with the limited edition holidays last year, which would have been 2021, 2022. However, I did find the correct blurb. So Hazelnut Torrone, by the way, Torrone it's an Italian dessert, and it's like, it's nougat. Yeah? Do you know what nougat is? I don't either. I don't know. I know it to look at. Here's a picture of Torrone, okay? It's like this weird, like, it's not like styrofoam, but it's kind of like a funky weirdness. I mean, I could write a book, right? Funky weirdness with nuts in it. I'm Italian. I don't go in for this kind of thing. I just don't, personally. But anyway, it's a nougat, and it tends to be like full of nuts. Usually honey and almonds is like the thing, or pistachios. This particular one is supposed to be hazelnut. So the blurb on the website says, the mouth-watering aroma of a traditional Italian confection is created by combining the essence of slow-roasted hazelnuts coated in dark honey, folded gently into a velvety mixture of sugar and sweet vanilla. A delectable scent that pays homage to a charming old world holiday tradition. And the top notes are honey and roasted hazelnuts. Mid notes are nougat, honey, and roasted almonds. Base is vanilla and caramel. Okay. And so I bought it because I'm a sucker for hazelnut. You put hazelnut on anything, I will buy it. I will 100% buy it. I love hazelnuts, probably my favorite nut, at least to eat, to smell, etc. Gosh, a hazelnut coffee, I will go a long way for. I really will. So when I bought this, because I ordered it off of Macy's, I didn't actually smell it in the store. And I smelled it, I was like, where are the hazelnuts? There are no hazelnuts in this candle. And in fact, I don't actually think there's a whole lot that's nutty about this candle either. And so in some ways it was kind of a bait and switch in that regard. It is beautiful, but you know what this reminds me of is golden cashmere from Kringle, okay? That's what you smell. In fact, if you smelled it, I don't even know that it comes across as a true gourmand smelling it. For me, there's a very strong, almost cashmere note on the bottom that could very well be like a tonka bean, for instance. This one's supposed to have tonka bean, this pink pepper one. And that's why I was looking at it. I was like, maybe it's, and I'm like, Hazelnut Torrone. And then it's got like tonka. Okay, I smell the tonka. Spicy cinnamon and pink pepper? Like, I was like, what kind of Torrone is this? And why is there no hazelnut? And why is there cinnamon and pink pepper? It's because it really does smell like tonka bean. I would say a tonka bean and maybe almost something vaguely soapy, which is going into that like cashmere, almost laundry or linen kind of direction. It's beautiful, it's warm, it's cozy, it's fresh. And yes, there is kind of like a carameled overtone to it as well. But I would say that smelling it, it does not smell like a true gourmand. I was happy with that because I'm not a huge gourmand person, but I was unhappy with the fact that I wasn't getting any hazelnuts. And upon it being burned, I want to reiterate, there are no hazelnuts. So if you're here for the hazelnuts, you're gonna be disappointed with this candle. To be honest, if you're here for any kind of nut at all, I don't think you're gonna be very happy with this candle. I don't think there's anything nutty, despite the fact that they have roasted hazelnuts and allegedly roasted almonds in this candle. It's just not the case. Vanilla and caramel you get, and then I do think that you get something that is vaguely like not gourmand. However, caveat, however, when this was burned for many, many hours, I was starting to get something that was much more gourmand than on the cold smell. So I would say that after it had burned for a very long time, I got a very strong, deep, roasty caramel. I would say it's a caramel, and it's kind of in the realm of Sol de Janeiro. And Sol de Janeiro does allegedly have some toasted pistachio overtones to it. So that's about right, I guess, for where they should be. All in the way of saying, once it had burned for a very long time, it did smell closer to what the notes here indicate it should smell like. Again, I still wasn't getting hazelnut, and I wasn't even getting something strongly nutty, but at least there was a little bit more of a nuance and a very strongly gourmand caramel presence, as opposed to like a tonka bean or a sandalwood or something like that, right? For me personally, once it went into that gourmand space, I was just kind of not interested. I don't want a caramel candle. If it had a much stronger nut presence, I might have been able to get behind it. The strength and the throw on this one was very, very weak. Like I said, after 3 or 4 hours, when like the candle was like rocking, you know, like super hot to the touch in the tiny guest bathroom, I was getting it up to like maybe, I want to say like a 6.5, yeah? But for the most of its existence, it had a strength and throw that was very limited to this area. It was kind of coming in at about a 3 or a 4. And I know that's with a votive, but it was also in a very, very small space. So I think that this one has a pretty modest presence. And if you're here for the nuts, like it's not gonna happen. For that reason, well, it's a very pleasant candle. I just don't think that it's powerful or intriguing enough to justify its price point. And this was the one that Melanie thought burned very, very badly. So that's Hazelnut Torrone. It's not available anywhere except for on the Lafco website. They do have a set of these limited editions, this one, and then another one, which is cinnamon bark. I have not smelled that one, but it was like a 3 trio set. And right now it is currently $31.20. So about $10 a votive, down from $52. So I'll put the link down below if you want to try these two out along with cinnamon bark. All right, so then the next one, and this one actually I think is better. This woodland spruce. Yeah, the minute that I smelled it, I was like, oh, well, this is quite good. It's very, very good. This one did come out this year, and I get the sense that this is a real standby for them. It may come out every single year, whereas the flankers may change from year to year. So woodland spruce actually has the right blurb. The festive aroma of an enchanted winter forest is created by combining the natural essence of fresh birch bark and crisp evergreen spruce, warmed with earthy Palo Santo wood, an invigorating holiday scent for a nostalgic ambiance. And I didn't get the notes on this one. I'm sorry. Go to the website if you want the actual notes. But the major notes that are target. Oh wait, I did. Never mind. I take that back. Sorry, I've got lots of notes in front of me. So the notes are birch bark, spruce, and Palo Santo, but then they're also fir balsam and juniper berries, apparently. Maybe. I would say there's some bergamot in here. This candle is it goes in a men's cologne direction for sure, but I would say it still has a very strong and robust, like spruce balsam kind of smell as well. So I mentioned this one when I was talking about in the last review, Homeworks, and it was the frosted white pine, yeah, which does have notes of like balsam spruce, bergamot, and patchouli, white patchouli. That's what this one smells like, is a nice spruce balsam, and then with the patchouli and the bergamot, like a very standard kind of men's cologne profile. It is a lovely premium fragrance. I will tell you that. I will tell you even more that this is a sexy fragrance, very sexy. This is a sexy Christmas tree. If you know what I mean, if you like your Christmas trees sexy, then this is what you need for sure, right? Man, I mean, this is one of those fragrances that like, if it was a men's cologne, like you are gonna get it on for sure. It's stunning. So Fraser Fir from Times also has a great deal of musk in it, but the musk there is a very light touch and it's a very supporting cast. The musk elements here and the like, I think there's some bergamot. Palo Santo, I'm not getting a strong wood dimension, but Palo Santo may actually be a little bit conceptual there. Palo Santo evokes for some people like a very kind of resinous, almost exotic, spicy wood kind of thing. And I could see why they were kind of going into a conceptual male personal fragrance kind of vibe with the Palo Santo, right? Whew, yeah. This is like a Fraser Fir was sexy. Which I know, sexy Christmas tree is like not a thing, but here it is. Now, here's the thing with this one. This one performed much better than this one did in terms of strength and throw. Partly it's the profile. You have a pretty strong and robust men's cologne along with a pretty strong, robust spruce and balsam. I wouldn't say high range, but it is a mid-range and it's high in that mid-range and then bassy for all the rest of it. And I do think the bergamot, I know it's unlisted, but I'm sure there's some amount of bergamot in this that's kind of pressing it up into that higher range. With all of those profiles as they are, you really should get a pretty good amplification. And I have to say that like, without realizing it, like the bathroom door did get cracked a little bit and it started filtering over into the house. Now, it did take a couple hours, even with the votive, to get it up into that like rocking space. But once it was there, it was carrying throughout my house. And it was a tiny, like 1.9 ounce votive. So I would be much more confident recommending this one in terms of Lafco. I would imagine that with a larger vessel, not even to mention if you had multiple wicks, you would be pretty like, I can't imagine that it wouldn't have at least decent presence in your house, if not really strong presence, like up in that 7 to 8 to 8.5 kind of realm. And I do have to say that once it started filtering and once it started really amplifying, most of what amplified was the tree rather than the like bergamot cologne kind of thing. So Hazelnut Torrone, like once it started getting going, like that more body care tonka bean thing kind of fell away and you got the caramel. With here, again, the personal fragrance kind of thing did fall away a little bit and you very strongly got the balsam and spruce, which is really nice to see when you've got like, at least with this one, a nice botanical element coming forward stronger than like those other more traditional personal fragrance elements. It does worry me a little bit that upon smelling both of these, you get a strong impression of a certain fragrance that then upon being burned transforms significantly into something else. And the reason that I worry about that is because it indicates for me that like their fragrance may not necessarily be firing the way that they intend for it to be, if that makes sense. And from a consumer's perspective, we often buy a candle or keep a candle because we like the way that it smells on cold. And if it's different when it's burned, then that may or may not be satisfying for the consumer. Not even to mention that there are some people who might like a candle very much once it's burned, but they don't know that if they smelled it cold and they didn't like it so much. So I do worry about that, but maybe these two are idiosyncrasies, and not all Lafco candles like kind of have that bait and switch like feel to them. I just have no idea. I don't have enough experience with the company. I do highly recommend Woodland Spruce. Like I said, especially if you like your Christmas trees sexy, like this one is for sure sexy. And in that sense, actually carves away a little bit of a different niche from like the Fraser firs that just don't have that sex appeal, you know? And like I said, it's not like an Axe body spray sexy. It's like premium, fine. Yeah, okay? So if you want those votives, you can get them on Lafco. I will put that down below. Also, because they did pour Woodland Spruce this year as their limited edition candle, or as one of them, it is available in a couple other places. I know it was available still at Bloomingdale's, and it may be on a reduced price at this point, given that they were the holiday candles. I'm still willing to kind of give Lafco a shot here. I'm gonna watch the travel tins at Macy's, and I may try to snag one if, you know, they go on sale, etc. I just am not happy with the reports that I'm seeing about the burn quality and the tunneling at that price point. Like, there are just too many candle companies. There are too many other options. That said, I am a sucker for like a really fine fragrance, you know? And that's the one positive that you can often get from luxury candle companies, is like a really unexpected fragrance, like a premium and elevated one, just one that like really professional fragranciers have spent a long time concocting, you know? And that's special. And so I don't want to completely write them off, just like I don't want to completely write off like Glass House, for instance. But I do think for a lot of people, it's going to be a tough sell. And if they performed better, it might be less of one. I don't know why I brought this with me. I brought it with me because this is also a sexy Christmas tree. So this is Voluspa Mosu Bamboo. I'm gonna burn this up. When I was smelling this, I'm like, oh, it's a sexy Christmas tree. And then I'm like, oh, I have another candle that's like a sexy Christmas tree too, and does kind of lean a little bit masculine, and that's this one. And I don't have the notes here, but then when I smelled it in conjunction with this one, this actually has a lot more fruit in it. It's fruity and a little bit higher, and a little bit less overtly cologne-y than the Woodland Spruce one is. So in that sense, it might actually be a little bit more balanced. But if you're kind of into that like sultry, masculine leaning, almost personal fragrance, but with a strong, rugged, outdoor coniferous tree component, Mosu Bamboo is another one that you would definitely want to try out. And like I said, I think I'm gonna burn this pretty soon. This is one of those amazing shallow tins from Voluspa that I really highly recommend. These are 12 ounce, and you have the best chance of getting a nice strength and throw on these particular vessels. Don't bother with the glass ones. Don't do it, don't do it, don't do it. These are reasonably priced, and I think kind of really pretty with their, like, it's kind of an old-fashioned tapestry with some like Japanese overtones. I'm here for it. Anyway, I will try to do Mosu Bamboo pretty soon, maybe the end of the month. Man, this coconut wax. Voluspa does the coconut wax, and it's so soft. You get it like all over your hands. You can't store it for more than 12 months. It just starts breaking down and like gloopy, but you do smell really nice for a long time. All right, anyway, Lafco, thanks for joining me, and I'll catch you in the next one.